All right, all right, all right. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. I have not had an opportunity to greet this morning. Tiana Rogers, good morning to you on this thankful Thursday morning. This is the day that the Lord has made, and certainly I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. How about you? You ought to rejoice and be glad in it. All of us have something to be very, very, very grateful for. The Lord woke us up this morning, and we're healthy to a reasonable degree, most of us. And hopefully, I pray that you are in your right mind. Of course, you are, because you've joined us here on Morning Mocha. And I know that it's by the grace and the love of God that we are experiencing and enjoying this time this morning. Now, let me say this. Let me get this out the way real quickly. Good morning, my good sister, Teresa Wilder. God bless you. Linda Taylor, good morning to you. Let me go ahead and get this out the way real quick. I know things are not so bright, or people may not be so happy in Chiefs Kingdom today. If you haven't heard the news by now, you must have just disconnected yourself socially from everybody and from most news media outlets. But wow, the Chiefs Kingdom took a major blow on yesterday. The Kansas City Chiefs traded the Cheetah, our wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. They traded him to the Miami Dolphins. In return, they got 5 draft picks, but that doesn't make us feel any better. We're going to miss the Cheetah around here. He was a very, very intricate part of Kansas City's explosive offense. We're going to miss him running down the field. We're going to miss him running down the field and making explosive plays. I mean, how can you replace someone like Tyreek Hill? But now Brett Veach and Andy Reid, they're up to the task. They're going to have to do something here. We're going to be all right, though. One thing we can still boast about is the fact that we still have Patrick Mahomes back there calling out the plays and flinging that ball, getting it to the necessary receivers. I just pray that they get some at least serviceable replacements. Somebody that can at least make us not miss Tyreek Hill so bad, But again, we understand Chiefs had to do what they needed to do. Tyreek Hill desired to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, and Kansas City didn't have the cap space. They couldn't do it. And their trade with Miami accommodated Tyreek Hill. And from what I understand, one of the reports that I saw on yesterday and heard on yesterday, that Tyreek Hill is now the highest paid non-quarterback player in the NFL. So the brother got paid, and you can't blame the brother for getting paid. I know I would want to get paid myself, but that's all right. We just have to make adjustments, find another way to get it done. And I think Kansas City is going to be good. Now, I will say this: I'm a bit concerned about Kansas City's inactivity during the free agent period, where all of these players are changing teams, and teams are improving their teams immensely. I mean, drastically over this free agency period. The AFC West this year is going to be crazy. It's been somewhat of a cakewalk for Kansas City for the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but no longer is that going to be the case. The competition levels have raised tremendously in the AFC West, but Chiefs Kingdom, listen, let's keep rooting. Let's look forward to this upcoming season, and we're going to pray for the best, if you would. That's all in fun, y'all. Don't get so serious about this stuff that it starts to stress you out. It is what it is. It's a game. It's a game. It's entertainment. It's something that we love and enjoy watching. But don't take it so seriously that it gets you all discombobulated to where you can't even function in life. You can't breathe. And you're getting stressed out because you don't think the team is going to be as good as you'd like for it to be. Let's get to the subject matter at hand. For the past few days, I've been encouraging you to fight to get fit. Now, for the past 2 days, I've challenged you to do all that you can to get mentally fit. That requires doing what is, in essence, mental maintenance. Mental maintenance. In order to get mentally fit, you must do mental maintenance on a regular basis. Keeping yourself mentally fit is so important because your mental fitness plays such a vital role in your overall fitness. I mean, just think about this. Your mental fitness lends itself to your ability to function and perform at your highest level of potential. It lends itself to your physical peak performance, if you will. It's because if your mind is not right, then everything else about you is very likely to be compromised. That's the reason why you got to get that mind together. You all have often heard me talk about how I'm not necessarily an early in the morning person. It takes me a while to get in the flow of things. It's because I just feel like that my mind isn't really clicking. It doesn't really start clicking in the way I want it to start clicking until I have been awake for a certain amount of time. Now, if I want my mind to start clicking earlier, I've got to get up a little bit earlier, to give my brain a little time to warm up. I'm like a car that sits outside in the wintertime. You can't just jump in it, crank it up, and go. That's not always good for the engine. It takes a little time to get a little warmed up. And the warmer the engine is, the better the vehicle function. Your mind is the same way. You have to do the maintenance on it. You have to keep it fit so that you can always find yourself operating at your optimum levels, at your highest levels. You're performing at your peak. You're giving it your best. You're being very productive because your mind is fit. Today, I want to challenge you in the area of your physical fitness. Now, please don't turn me off, y'all. You got to hang in here. You might truly be challenged and encouraged to do something about your physical fitness to the degree that you may even start feeling a lot better if you embrace what I'm sharing with you today. Now, the first thing that we all should understand is that physical fitness is more than just a look. It is about more than just weight and body mass. Now, that has something to do with it, but that's not what it's totally all about. And sometimes we can get so caught up on the look, trying to achieve the look, that we may just miss out on giving attention to some other areas of our physical fitness that we really need to give attention to. In an overall assessment of physical fitness is about the state of your overall physical health, not just about your look. Some people may look slim and trim, yet they are not healthy. And some people may look a little bit thick or a little bit even now overweight as it pertains to their body weight and their body mass. But internally, they are as fit as they can be. You can't always allow the package to fool you or to deceive you. Some people who look to be overweight are in much better shape than those who we describe as slim and trim and all that kind of thing. Listen, I believe that it is imperative that you know your body. Sounds simple, but it's a very significant point. You need to know your body. Furthermore, it is even more imperative that you pay attention to your body. That way, you'll know what to do for your body. You gotta always pay attention. Pay attention to the little things. Know what your body responds to or reacts to. Pay attention to what you're doing during the times when you feel that you are physically at your best. But also pay attention to what you're doing during the times when you're physically at your worst. Know your body. Get to know your body. The last thing that you want to do is to ignore your body. Please understand that you only have one body. It's the only one you've been given to work with. It's the suit you have to live in. It's the suit you must function in. So therefore, you need to keep your body as physically fit as you possibly can. Some people are robbing themselves of experiencing the full joys of life because they've done so much damage or yet doing so much damage to their bodies that they can't enjoy life because they can't physically function as they would desire to. Just as it is important to constantly do things necessary for your mental maintenance, it is just as necessary to do physical maintenance. And I want to keep emphasizing the need for you to know your bodies. Understand this. Our bodies are designed to send signals to our brain, letting us know when something is not quite right and needs some attention. Sometimes when you're feeling sluggish, it's not just the weather, but we quickly dismiss our sluggishness by putting the blame on the weather. Well, it's cloudy. Well, it's rainy. I'm just in that mood, It's the changing of the season. That's the reason why I'm feeling so sluggish. No, sometimes it's your body signaling that it is deficient in a certain area and it needs immediate attention. But if you don't know your body, you won't know that. If you don't know your body, you'll just kind of ignore the signals that your body is sending to you. I mean, pay attention. Listen, your difficulty with doing simple things such as going up and down the stairs or walking to the mailbox without getting winded. It's not just signs of you getting old. They are signals that the body is being neglected in some way or in some areas. Now, y'all know that's truth and it's real talk. And I'm not trying to sit here, and I'd be the last to tell you that I've got this thing perfectly figured out. I got it down to a science. I got a routine and a regimen wherein that I am in tip-top 100% excellent physical shape. No, I've been working on it for years. I have literally been working on it for years because it's a discipline that's not very easy to master. It takes work. It takes consistency. But it's very important that you just not be too dismissive when you see or feel or notice that things are not going quite right with your body. Listen to them signs, or pay attention to those signs that suggest that your body is being neglected or being deprived of something that it is much needed. Listen, let me encourage you in this respect as well, especially those of you that have reached the age of, 40, 50, 60. Don't be that person who's always claiming to be old when you have not yet gotten old. Now I will say, check this out. and this is going to go against the grains of what we typically hear. I'll say this, that age is more than a number. We often hear people say age ain't nothing but a number. I don't agree with that. Age is more than a number. Age is a reminder. Age is a reminder that you are aging. We can't deny the fact that we're aging, but it is not a definitive number that determines that you've reached that level wherein you're just old. Now, you may be old to some people, but you don't have to deem yourself as being old. Just know that the years that you've lived and the experiences that you have or have had or are having are just a reminder that time is moving on. And as time moves on, we have to make certain adjustments in how we do things. Listen, physical fitness, which is achieved through physical maintenance rather, should be important to you regardless of your age. This message here is applicable to those who are in the early stages of life, to those who are in their middle stages of life, and even to those who are in their latter stages of life. At every stage, it is equally important for you to be conscious and aware of your physical condition, that you do all you can to remain physically fit. Now, again, I'm not claiming to be an expert in any of these areas that I'm referring to. Now, some of you might say, well, then why are you talking to us about it? It's because I do have a little bit of wisdom about some things. And I'm just sharing the wisdom that God has allowed me to acquire over my years. I'm sharing it with you because you may very much need this wisdom that I'm sharing. All wisdoms don't come from certified or professional experts. As a matter of fact, the scriptures tell us that if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God. God is the ultimate expert. And so I just listen and receive whatever inspiration that God gives me concerning anything that he instructs me or leads me to speak with you about. So let's address the issue of eating right. Let's go there. The reality is, what that looks like varies from one person to the next. People are always talking about, you got to eat right. You got to eat right. Well, what does that look like? And people love to pull out their charts and give you information about what you should and shouldn't be eating, but healthy eating varies from one person to the next. Eating right, what that looks like, varies from one person to the next. There is really no one formula fits all. One formula fits all eating regimen for what we refer to as healthy eating. It doesn't matter who it's coming from. That the formula for eating is really subject to the genetic and chemical makeup of an individual's body. Again, this is a matter of knowing your body, knowing what your body does or does not respond to. Certain foods that one person's body may respond well to may not be so good for the next person. You must pay attention to how your body responds when you eat certain foods. And as you collect that type of information, then you can set what type of eating routines that you're going to develop for yourself. I hate using the word diet, but just for the sake of discussion right now, your diet must be tailor-made to your body makeup. So many people have a tendency to just jump on fad diets when they become desperate to lose weight, not considering the fact that some diets are not compatible with their generic makeup as it pertains to weight loss and weight gain. You see somebody losing weight, someone in your family, someone close to you, and first thing we run and ask them, well, what are you doing to lose weight? Well, I changed my eating. And they begin to rattle off. Well, I don't eat this anymore. I don't eat that anymore. I don't eat this anymore. And some of them have the audacity to start telling you what you should eat. Well, you should eat this. You shouldn't be eating that. You shouldn't be eating this. And some of them, when you're eating certain things, they look down on you with such a condescending glare, like, I can't believe that you're eating that. That's not good for you. Well, it may not be good for you, but it doesn't mean that what's not good for you is not good for the next person. And don't allow people to shame you into eating certain things or not eating certain things just because they decided to stop eating that particular thing. Again, we know that some things are just not good for us. But you've got to be the one who determines what is good and what is best for you, simply, again, by knowing your body. Furthermore, if your only reason for going on a diet is to lose weight, then you're doing yourself a great disservice. You are. You would be better served by developing an eating regimen that will ultimately become a lifestyle that will help you to function and to perform at your maximum levels. When you're just doing things just to lose weight, it's a fad. Why? Because you want to look a certain way at a certain time. All of us have gone through this, especially women. Women are really big on this. They're going to be in a wedding. So they go on these crash diets, these fad diets. I'm going to lose 20 pounds in 6 days. And after you drop that weight real quickly, you then have a Professor Klump experience. Y'all familiar with Professor Klump? Nutty Professor? He would drink that liquid and he would become slim and trim. But when that liquid wear off, boom, 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 the body starts swelling up and popping out. And not only does it return to the stage of what it was, it becomes even worse. How many of you all have had the nutty professor experience? I don't know about you, but I have. Years ago, I remember going on this, and it was a fad diet. It really was a fad diet. Man, I stayed on this fad diet, trying to make sure that I didn't eat any carbs, no breads, this, that, and the other. Went on that fad diet. And, at some point before you know it, you've gone back to the way you were eating in the past. And man, it took me 4-5 months to lose those 42 pounds. And I gained them back and then some within seemed like 2 to 3 weeks. My God, what's going on here? I was ignoring the signals. I had gotten to the point where I felt good about myself. I was looking good. This fad diet thing, it's working. And I figured, well, if I cheat every now and then, if I cheat one day, and y'all know how we do, we cheat one day, and one day turns into 2 days, and 2 days turns into a week, and a week turns into a month, and the month turns into 6 months. And before you know it, you're right back where you started, and even worse. And let me tell y'all how I was keeping myself in denial about my weight. When my clothes would come back from the cleaners and they would feel a bit tight, I would literally blame the cleaners. I'm saying, I'm going to have to find me another cleaners because this cleaners they're shrinking my clothes. I literally felt like the cleaners was shrinking my clothes. And it finally dawned on me. Now, you know this is bad. When the shoes you normally wear all of a sudden become much too tight. And then you start saying stuff, my feet must be swollen today. Yes, they are, along with the rest of your body. Your feet, your waist, your wrist, your neck, you swole. Professor Klump. Why? Because you stopped doing the physical maintenance that you need to do to take care of yourself. And here's the bad part about it, is that when I stopped doing what I was supposed to do, I started having other issues. My blood pressure started to go up. That was the easy reason. There was a simple reason for that. I'm just gonna be transparent with y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. When I would go to the when I would go to the doctor and have my physical, and the doctor say, Tony, your blood pressure is somewhat elevated, and I think I need to put you on a small dosage of medication to bring your blood pressure down. I would say to her, no, it's no big deal. I can bring it down. Only reason why it's up is, I'm a pastor, and people tend to get on my nerves. Yeah, that was my story, and I was sticking to it. But the reality is, my body was trying to tell me, you're not taking care of me the way you need to. You're deficient in some areas. And here's what's crazy. And this time's construed. Throughout all of that time, while I was gaining weight and blood pressure going up, I was working out on a regular basis every morning, every day. I was spending almost 2 hours a day working out. I'm talking about treadmills. I'm talking about Max Pro machines. That's like kind of an elliptical dual stair step machine. I'm talking about stationary bicycles. I'm talking weightlifting. I'm talking about the boxing bag, punching and I was doing stuff like kickboxing exercises and all of that kind of stuff. I was working out all that time. But yet, because I was neglecting my body and not giving it what it really need at that given time, and I was in denial, it seems like that everything that I was doing was working against me, and I was doing nothing but making excuses. Am I resonating with anybody out there? Is there anybody other than myself who've done that kind of thing? You've been in denial. You make excuses. Excuses sound reasonable to you, and you feel like they ought to be reasonable to everybody else. You know, and y'all, I'm totally being transparent with y'all now. My darling wife, she is very, very health conscious. And she tries to be my external conscious when it comes to health and eating and all that. And I know a lot of times I should be listening to her, but I'm hard-headed. I don't. I'm just being real with you all. And uh, sometimes she gets on my nerves, but sometimes she cracks me up. Also, she'll see me. we we have a pantry in our kitchen wherein she keeps all all the good snacks, all the unhealthy snacks, and oh my goodness, it's a walk-in pantry, and sometimes she'll catch me in the pantry and she'll be like, "What are you doing in there? Are you eating because you're hungry, or are you just eating just to be eating?" Oh my gosh. And I be wanting to tell her, "Get out of my face with your slim self." And then another thing she does, she's always taking these vitamins and these juices and things of that nature. And she tries to get me to go along with her and, "Hey, drink this juice. This is really good. It'll do this, that, and the other for you. It's really healthy." And she'll start telling me it got fruits and berries and this, that, and the other. And it's really, really good. You mix this little powder in there with it, and it's good for this and it's good for that. And she goes on and on. And it takes her forever to finally convince me to taste it or try it. She already knows what my reaction is going to be. The last thing she got me to taste and try, she said, "Oh, it's going to be really, really good." Oh my goodness. To me, it was the most horrible taste I've ever tasted in my life. And my reaction was like a 6-year-old kid. I went into, I don't see how you can drink that stuff, you know? And she's sitting there cracking up. It's comical to her. It's funny to her. And it winds up being funny to the both of us. But I just have one of those funny, weird palates where a lot of things just don't sit well with me. I personally don't see how she does it. You know, you people that drink apple cider vinegar every morning. Oh my gosh, that's the most horrible thing in the world, you ask me. I can't even stand the smell of vinegar. And for people to drink it the way they do, no, you have to do actually what's best for your body and also what you can tolerate. Now, some people will say, "Well, you just have to acquire a taste for some things." I ain't got time to be acquiring no taste for nothing. If I don't like it the first time it goes down, it's likely not going in my body. NT more. Y'all notice I said NT more. I'm so telling y'all the truth. But think about this, and I know there's a whole lot of things out there with regards to weight loss and all of that, and yeah, some of us really do. We really need to lose some weight because losing weight can relieve some of the stress on your joints, on your knees, and things of that nature. You know, there was time that I thought that I was having knee problems because my knees were always sore, and that there were certain times that I could be standing up and it felt like that my legs and knees would just give out. And I said to myself, "Oh my goodness, I'm developing knee problems." Well, what those knees was saying to me is that you got too much weight on us. And when I stepped on the scale during that time, I jumped off real quickly. And I said, "Yeah, I hear you, knees. I know why you're reacting and responding and feeling the way you're doing. I've got way too much weight on these knees." And I immediately started to adjust some things with regards to my eating, and I began to lose the weight. Somebody said those gummy apple cider vinegar gullies are good. Okay, they might be good to you, but I ain't sure they'll be good to me. You know, when it comes to stuff like that, I need to be able to swallow them whole without chewing. I don't want to taste nothing. I'm just telling y'all the truth. But as I was saying, when it comes to consuming things, if it's not good to me, I can't stand it. I can't tolerate it. I just can't do it. Let me move on to the next thing. For a lot of people, simple moderation with consumption is the key. Now, it's not always necessary to totally deprive yourself of everything that you enjoy eating. Just start to eat a little less of it. That worked for me at one time, you know. And again, you got to know your body. I'm just maybe suggesting some things that you could possibly try that might work for you. But just kind of cut back on how much you eat. That time when I jumped on the scale, when my knees were giving me all the trouble they were, when I jumped on the scale and saw how much I weighed, I literally start cutting all of my meals in half. I started asking Lady Ann that instead of putting my meals on a plate, to put them on a saucer. She could get a lot less on the saucer. She couldn't put as much on the saucer as she put on the plate, or a smaller plate, however you want to say it. Went from the regular size to the smaller plate. And when we would go to a restaurant and I would order my entree, I would ask the server to immediately bring me out a to-go box. And I would take the food that was on my plate and split it in half and put half of it into the to-go box, which forced me or kept me confined to only eating what was on my plate. And the rest of it, I would keep for either a second meal or for the next day. And when I was doing that consistently, I was losing weight. I was still eating whatever I wanted to eat. I was just doing it in smaller portions. And it actually worked for me. And some of you probably are sitting there thinking, well, why did you stop? Because you know how you get. You get to a place where you're comfortable. Sister Tisha, what'd you say, meal prep? Sometimes that's too much work. I ain't got time for all that. No, that's bad, y'all. That's bad. Here I am trying to encourage y'all, and I'm just being transparent for y'all. No, you're absolutely right. Because, again, when I do meal prep occasionally, um, it's very helpful. It causes me not to just randomly reach for foods. But that moderation thing is so very effective. I mean, it is for me, you know. Um, but you must be aware of how your body can change over time and start to reject certain foods that you at one time were accustomed to eating and enjoying. For instance, and this is important for overall health as well, because again, it's not just about losing weight and acquiring a certain physical look, but it's about your overall health, your overall physical health. For instance, there was a time when I used to thoroughly enjoy eating good pork chops. Man, I love me some pork chops. But I recently found out that pork chops do something to me now that throws my whole body, throws it off. It just throws my whole body off. And so now, as much as I love pork chops, I steer clear of pork chops because of how my body responds to pork chops. Now, again, there's some of you people out there say pork ain't good for you. You shouldn't be eating pork in the first place. Okay, that applies to you, but it doesn't apply to everybody else. I have a very close friend of mine, very dear friend of mine, who loses weight and maintains his body weight by constantly consuming beef. I'm talking about steaks. This brother either eats steaks or burgers almost every day. Some people say, well, it's better to eat fish and chicken. Well, my dear friend, his system is such, and this is crazy to some people, but he can't digest chicken. Chicken does to him what steak does to other people. He just can't digest it. And when the brother told me that he eats burgers specifically from Burger King every day to maintain his weight, I said to myself, oh, I'm gonna try that one. I love me some burgers. I'm gonna try that one. Man, I started eating burgers and I started blowing up. I started experiencing my Professor Clump's impression. I'm telling you, it's the truth. Now, every nutritionist would tell you how important it is to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. And for the most part, that's true. But it's still a matter of knowing your body and knowing how your body responds to certain foods. Check this out. We have a family member who cannot eat fruit. Fruit literally makes them sick. Some of you might say unheard of. Well, no, it's true. I had a family member who at one time was instructed by the doctors to stop eating any green vegetables. Now, yes, they were dealing with the health issue. But again, you got to be aware of what's going on in your body. Because sometimes you might think you're doing the right thing and you might be doing something that is damaging to you. And you're simply following the instructions or the advice of nutritionists, those that you hear or listen to on television and things of that nature. And their advice isn't always applicable to you. Do you not know that your blood type can determine how you process certain foods. Some foods or meats in particular, that people say you shouldn't eat, that's not good for you, is what works best with people who have certain blood types. Got to know your body. Again, I'll say it again. There's no one size fits all surefire healthy eating regimen. Also, drinking plenty of water is vital to physical fitness. It is. Staying hydrated, keeping your vital organs hydrated, keeping those joints hydrated. I remember back in the day when I was younger, young teenager, young adult, if I told my mother that my back had been hurting, and she said, "Did you hurt yourself?" Well, no. I just woke up and it was hurting. Did you sleep wrong? I don't think so. How long has it been going on? Tell her it's been going on for some days now. She said, "You ain't drinking enough water. Drink you some water." And initially, when she told me that, I'm thinking to myself, what they got to do with anything? You drink that water. Listen, the greater part of your body is made up of water. And those of you that retain water, those of you who retain water, sometimes it's because you're not drinking enough water. Because it takes water to flush out water. Okay? And in flushing out that water, it causes your blood cells to rejuvenate. You know, so it's a good thing to drink plenty of water, not soda, but water. And once again, I had to find that out somewhat the hard way. I'm telling you, I had to be delivered from that drinking pop, as we say. I had to be delivered from it. There used to be a time when they first came out with the big gulp mugs that would keep your drink cold for hours on top of hours with ice in it and everything. I used to have a big gulp mug on my nightstand filled up with ice and a 2-liter bottle of Pepsi right there beside it. And I would wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and I would drink my Pepsi. And it was so bad that if I didn't have my Pepsi in the evening, if I didn't have my Pepsi on the nightstand, I couldn't sleep. I can recall one time tossing and turning, realized I had run out of Pepsi. There's no Pepsi in the house. I got up, put my clothes on. I went around to the nearest convenience store. I got my 2-liter bottle of Pepsi, came back home, filled up my big gulp, gulped down as much as I could, laid down and slept like a baby. And all that time, I didn't realize how much damage I was doing to myself. Some of you might say, well, I don't like drinking all that water because I don't want to have to go to the bathroom. But listen, you got to do what you got to do. The bottom line is just be mindful of what you consume and how much you consume. And just as, please understand this because you gotta have a healthy balance, because just as overeating is not good for your body, neither is not eating enough. Starving yourself is not good. It's not healthy. Terry Kazan, Terry, you said your grandma is still like that about her Pepsi at 88. See, her Pepsi might be helping to keep her young. Her body responds well to it. My Pepsi just keeps me fat. You know. Now I found an alternative. Lady Ann said Bishop was addicted to Pepsi. Yes, I was. Yes, I was. Because the first time I got up in the middle of the night to do that, she turned over and said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I got to have me some Pepsi. I'm going to the store." And I know she was laying there. She didn't say it at the time, but she probably was thinking, "Are you kidding? Really? Really?" Yes. I had it bad, y'all. You know? But I know how good Terry's grandmother looks. And so I might start using the excuse, I'm drinking Pepsi so I can stay young looking. Demond Buckley said he used to be that way about Little Debbie's. Oh my goodness. Woo! I know all of us got some stories. We've had some addictions to food and drink. You know, I'm not talking seriously in the form of that you actually had to go get some psychological help. Well, some of you might have had to go get some psychological help. But listen, you know, it's just the way it is. T.J. Hilton said, Pepsi is all my daddy drank. Oh, bless your heart. You never was a pop drinker. You so pure. Just having a little fun, y'all. Don't get offended. We just have a little fun, all right? But anyway, let's talk real quick about exercising, and I'm going to wrap this up. The same rules apply to exercising. There's no one size fit all workout regimen that's going to get you in the shape you desire. Just know that. Now, there are certain categories of exercises that everyone can benefit from, such as I believe everybody needs to do cardio exercises. Now, I'm not saying that you ought to have to be as intense as you see everybody else. You know, I'm not telling you need to go run 5 miles a day, 10 miles a day, you know, bicycle 100 miles a day. I'm not telling you that. But do something every day or as much as you can to really get your cardio rhythms up and going, to keep that blood flowing pretty good, to keep your respiratory system in good condition. I would say to some of y'all, when it comes to cardio exercises, walk, don't run. You can bicycle, do some bicycling. Use cardio machines, whichever one you're most comfortable with using. You know, now for some of you have to go to the gym, but there are a lot of people who have treadmills in their homes that they're using for clothes racks. Get on that treadmill. Take it a little bit at a time. First day, do 10 minutes. Do 10 minutes for a week. Every day for a week. Then the next week, ramp it up to 15 minutes. And then the next week, ramp it up to 20 minutes. Before you know it, you'll be walking 30 minutes to an hour. Well, Bishop, that's boring. Get something to distract you. Put on your television program that you love to watch. I know you don't have a problem watching a television program. Just do something else productive while you're watching your television. If you can, go to the local center and swim. Swimming is cardio. Doing weight resistance exercises. Lift light weights. Nobody's asking you or suggesting that you should try to become Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, just get you some light weights and exercise with those light, women, 3 to 5 pound dumbbells in your hand, little things. And while you're sitting watching program, just do some curls, exercising your arms. You'll be surprised what that'll do for you. No, you're not going to start looking like a man. It's just that your muscles are going to remain firm, and you'll have arms instead of wings. Y'all know the difference, right? So you got wings when all that is flapping and clapping, you know. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but you sitting up there complaining about your flabby arms. Let's get you some light weights and start to build up those muscles in there. Just start to cause them to become more firm. Okay? And then doing exercises using your body weight as the resistance. Doing stuff like squats and sit-ups. And, I know some people can't do nothing like jumping jacks. I'm not a jumping jack person. At least there was a time where I couldn't do many jumping jacks because my knees were saying, hey, stop that. Your body will talk to you. Your legs in particular, them legs will tell you, listen, you keep this up, I'm going to lay you down. You're going to be on the floor in a minute. Boy, y'all are hilarious. Tisha said, Bishop, I need my stomach to touch the hem of Jesus' garment. Woo! Hey, well, you may need to push through the crowd for that one because there's going to be a whole lot of people saying, well, if that'll work, let me do it. I got to get there. Woo! Because I'm going to be ahead of you. If that's the case, I'd be like, oh, Jesus, I got more seniority than Tisha. Can I get by first? Oh, my goodness. Woo! Okay. Y'all got me laughing here. All right, let me wrap this up, y'all. I'm over my time. The main thing is that you get in some form of exercise on a regular basis. Don't tell me you don't have time. You do have time. You do have time. You just have to make adjustments in the scheduling of your day. You can squeeze it in there. If you got time to watch a television program, you've got time to do some exercising. If you've got time to peruse through Facebook and see what nothing is going on Facebook, you do have time to do a little bit of exercising. Don't try to do it all at one time. Do a little bit at a time. Schedule yourself or discipline yourself to do something a little bit different every day. And again, don't get it twisted. Some people that may not look like they're exercising are doing something to exercise every day. It's not all about the look. I can't say that enough. But it's about being as healthy as you possibly can. Real quick, and I'm going to close here. I remember the last time that I had to go into the doctors for a minor procedure. Before I went for the procedure, the doctors said to me, "We are concerned about your cardiogram." I said, "Okay," because they took a cardiogram of me, and when they showed the cardiogram to me, it looked like this. I don't know if you all can see that. Probably should have done it on something a little darker. But anyway, if you can see that, you can see the writing there. Let me try just something a little bit different here because I want you to get this illustration here. Well, I can't find what I need to find right now. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, that's not what Y'all just bear with me. I'm about done here in a second here. Okay. Y'all know how cardiac. Can y'all see that any bit? No, that's not good enough either. Well, anyway, on a cardiogram, the 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 spikes from my reading were all going up as they read them. I was having big spikes from my cardiogram, and so the doctor came in and he said to me, he said, "I'm a little bit concerned with your cardiogram." And I said, "Well, doctor, what's the problem?" He showed me the little readout, and he said, "You see how these spikes are going up?" And it was on that long sheet of paper that they roll out of the machine on. He said, "You see how these spikes are going up?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "They really should be going down. The fact that they're going up concerns me." I said, "Well, I can fix that, doc." He said, "You can?" I said, "Oh, yeah, that's easy." I said, "Let me see the reading." He gave me the reading and I turned it upside down. I said, "See, now they're going down." And he and his whole staff broke out into laughter. And they asked my wife, they said, "Is he like this, normally like this?" She said, "All the time, all the time." But they said, "Okay, well, now, seriously," he said, "Tell me what you do for hobbies." And I said, "Well, I play golf and I work out, and with my workout, I do cardio, I do weightlifting and all." He said, "Well, okay, that explains it then." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "What your reading is saying is that you have an athlete's heart." Now, some of you might look at me and say, "You don't look like no athlete," you know, unless you think that I look like a overweight football lineman or something. I just ain't tall enough. But again, it's not about the look. It's about the overall health. So I'm trying to get you to understand that. You know, I may not look the part, but I try to be as healthy as I possibly can be. And I'm still working on some things. I'm trying to get this eating thing down packed because I am the pickiest eater on the planet, probably. You know, but I'm trying to find my sweet spot as it pertains to what I truly can and cannot eat that's going to benefit me most. And really, when I stop and think about it, I might just need just return to that moderation system that I was using and only eating smaller portions of food, you know, and resist that temptation of when it gets good to you, just keep on eating. Because actually, the reality is when you eat smaller portions over a period of time, before you know it, your stomach starts to shrink and it gets to the point where you can't eat more than what you need anyway. Well, y'all, I'm done. I'm done. I didn't mean to bore you that long, but I trust and pray that you benefited from everything that I've shared. Take it into consideration. Uh, Apply it to your personal habits. Keep yourself, all right, mentally fit and physically fit. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about us being spiritually fit because that is very, very, very important. God bless y'all. Love you much. I trust and pray that you'll have a blessed, wonderful, and prosperous rest of your day. Be blessed. I'm out.